Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the main card fights for UFC on Fox, Alvarez versus Poirier 2. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the main card. So in our first fight on the main card, we have in the lightweight division, Alexander Hernandez versus Oliver Mercier. So yeah, a matchup between two young fighters, definitely hungry. Alexander Hernandez is new to the UFC, but came in and instantly got himself a spot in the top 15, knocking out Beneil Dariush in like the first round. Oliver Mercier has been putting in work in the UFC for a couple years, I think 3-4 years now. Been definitely built himself up, definitely had a lot of skill, a lot of talent. And like he's continuing to get better. I think he might be on his best winning streak. I think about 4-fight winning streak right now. So one of his better streaks in the UFC, if not his best. But yeah, these fighters pretty much match up pretty evenly. It's kind of hard to say who will win. Both like roughly the same height, roughly the same reach. Pretty much roughly even everywhere. Only kind of difference is that Oliver Mercier has a little bit more experience as far as in the UFC. He has a higher submission percentage, and Hernandez has a higher KO percentage. But they're both well-rounded fighters. They both can knock you out, decision you, or submit you. So they're fighters that could beat you anywhere. So they're very well-rounded fighters, very young fighters, very talented fighters. But I'm kind of on the fence about who I'm going to go with. But I'm going to lean towards Alexander Hernandez. I think how he came out just showed that he's definitely here to take over. He's not here to sit around. He's here to try to go up the division as fast as possible. That could work out against him or it could work out for him, because sometimes people come in that they ain't going to do so much and they overlook people and they get caught or they get submitted or they lose a fight, then they just end up stuck and they never go any further. So that could definitely happen in this fight. And Oliver Mercier is certainly somebody that can capitalize on somebody overlooking him. He has the skills and he's somebody you can't sleep on at all. So it's kind of one of those fights, though. Let's see Alexander Hernandez. In his first fight in the UFC, he came in and just starts. Beneil Dariush came out taunting him, and he came out acting like he was going to touch gloves, then he kicked him in the chest or something like that. Then they started fighting and stuff. And he kept being aggressive, and just took advantage of Beneil Dariush's known weak chin and bad striking defense. He got aggressive. Beneil Dariush doesn't do well going backwards. Came in aggressive, knocked him out, took him out, and looked very dominant doing it. But would you say that's because Alexander Hernandez is so good, or is that he just saw a known hole in Beneil Dariush's game and took advantage of it? So I'm not too sure yet. As far as Oliver Mercier, in his last fight, he stopped Evan Dunham in like 44 seconds with a knee to the body, showing finishing power that he hasn't shown before. Maybe he just found a spot in Evan Dunham that he realized was weak and he attacked it. So it could be the same case for both of them. They both start solid opponents in their last fight in pretty quick fashion. Was it because they noticed something in their game that was weak, or is it just because they're that good? I think it's more so they just noticed something that was weak in their opponent's game and they took advantage of it. So I'm going to say they're both really on even playing field. But I'm going to go with Alexander Hernandez. So like I said again, I'm going with him. I just feel something on his side. I think he packed a little more power. I think he's filled out a little bit more. Even though they're really roughly around the same size in every way, I think he just filled out a little bit more. Has a better striking. Grappling advantage, I'll give it to Mercier. But I don't know if he'll be able to implement it. I think Hernandez has pretty good takedown defense, has a high striking accuracy, has a high striking defense. So when you have the better defense and the better accuracy, that helps a lot, especially when you're the one with more power. I don't see him necessarily stopping Oliver Mercier, but I do see him being the one landing the more punches, putting him to more volume, landing the cleaner shots, and dictating where the fights go. I think he'll definitely have some grappling involved, but I think Hernandez is keen enough on the ground that he'll be able to handle himself there, maybe even win some of the exchanges, but definitely he's going to take the fight where it needs to go to win the fight. It's going to be a toughly contested back and forth fight, but I'm just going to go with Alexander Hernandez via decision. So on to our next fight. We have in the women's strawweight division, Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Tecia Torres. So former strawweight champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk coming off 2 losses to Rose Namajunas. Tecia Torres, I think she's coming off a loss to the other fighter, the fighter that I'm gonna call her the little tank chick. So I'm forgetting her name right now, but y'all know who that chick is. She already fought for a title, about to fight for a title again. But I think Tecia Torres is coming off a loss. So they're both coming off losses, but high profile losses, not just losses to anyone, people that are in the title talk. So this is a interesting matchup. I think Joanna is the much better striker in my opinion. Technically in different ways. Tecia Torres is definitely a good striker. I'm not knocking her. I'm saying she's a very good striker as well, but I think Joanna is certainly a much better striker. I think Tecia Torres is very good at exploding in very fast with these blitz type strikes, because she's not the tallest fighter. She's actually calls herself the tiny tornado. She's very small, even at strawweight. A lot of fighters have inches of height above her, so she explodes in very quickly. gets in and gets in your face and lands a bunch of strikes, dips out, come back in, like just like a karate style fighter, which she is. And that she used that to her advantage. But against somebody like Joanna with a good jab, good foot movement, good speed, good timing, I think a lot of stuff can be stopped. And even if she tries to do that blitz and set up takedowns, Joanna is not too worried about giving up takedowns. Her takedown defense might not be phenomenal, but she is very good at getting back to her feet, staying calm and composed, and getting back to her feet, wearing fighters out. Like they do all this effort to take her down, and she gets right back up. I think Torres has good cardio, so she's not gonna get tired just because Joanna gets up. So she's gonna be trying to take her down the whole fight if she needs to or if she wants to. But I think Joanna's gonna be able to defend it, and even if she does get taken down, she's gonna be able to get back to her feet rather quickly, not spend too much time on her back or on the ground in any way. She's gonna be able to get back up, try to control that distance, which she's good at. Using her footwork, switching up her stance to confuse, throw off Teacher Torres' angles, like lead that jab out there, maybe make some straights in there. Probably definitely a front kick because Torres is the shorter fighter. She's gonna have to come in, and she's gonna be coming in that range right for those front kicks. I don't know about flying knee. She might throw a flying knee, but I wouldn't advise it. So I think she's gonna be doing front kicks, some jabs, foot movement, maybe a straight, and then she's gonna throw her own blitz in there when she if she sees it, sets it up, see that Teacher Torres kind of slowing up or like starts getting hesitant with her blitzes. She's gonna start piling up her own combinations. But I see a highly contested fight. I think Teacher Torres is a top-notch opponent, and she's a tough fighter as well. They're both tough. They're both not gonna quit. So it's gonna be a tough fight, but it's gonna be clear that Joanna is winning the rounds at least 2-1. It's not gonna be. I mean, not like at least 2 of the 3 rounds. She's gonna win at least 2 of the 3 rounds. Teacher Torres might win a round early. I think that's her best chance early because that's when her timing is gonna be where Joanna's gonna be filling out her timing a bit. So she's not gonna necessarily be picking her apart at the beginning. She's gonna be trying to find that range. She's gonna be trying to find that timing. But once she finds that time and gets it down, gets her footwork down, gets her patterns down, I think Joanna's going to start peppering up and make her pay every time she tries to blitz or every time she tries to set anything up and be countering, being able with that jab, be set up her own combinations, eventually start walking Teacher Torres down a bit. But I don't think she's going to finish her. I see it being a decision. So in this fight, I have Joanna Jędrzejczyk via decision. Then on to our co-main event, we have in the featherweight division, Jose Aldo versus Jeremy Stephens. So, an interesting matchup. Aldo's also coming out with, was it like 2 back-to-back losses? No, or was it like a Eddie Alvarez, like a Frank Edgar winning in between there or something? But definitely coming off at least 2 losses to Max Holloway, whether it be back-to-back or I don't know. I don't know right now. I'm like kind of confused a little bit, but he definitely coming off 2 losses to Max Holloway. Stephens riding the best winning streak of his career, looking the best he's ever looked in any division. So this is the best Stephens you're ever going to get versus maybe a decent enough Jose Aldo. But that being said, let's kind of break it down. I think Stephens is actually a good matchup for Aldo despite his power. Outside of Stephens' power, Aldo doesn't have really anything to worry about with Stephens. I mean, Stephens not a scrub or anything, but I think striking-wise, Aldo's more technical. He's the better striker. Wrestling-wise, I would even give Aldo the better wrestler. Jiu-jitsu-wise, Aldo's the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. So everywhere, Aldo is the better fighter. I think fight IQ, he has a better, higher fight IQ. And obviously, he has accomplished way more than Jeremy Stephens in his career. So pretty much he has to worry about Jeremy Stephens' power. I think Stephens going to try to fight like Stephens does. He's going to come out there and be aggressive, going to be trying to swing in huge shots. He's going to be implementing that leg kick a little bit, but that's probably work out against him because Aldo will invite that leg kick and will kick him back even harder. Aldo will be faster. His timing's better. And his punches are sort of predictable. Outside of maybe a flying knee or something that he might throw, he pretty much just kind of swings, hooks, and maybe an uppercut every now and then. Everything else kind of comes every now and then. But more so, he just kind of swings heavy hooks and try to take your head off. And Aldo's going to be more than prepared for that. And the people that he lost to really had much better boxing. Well, not much better boxing than him, but were much better boxers than Stephens, I would say. Stephens not really the greatest boxer or doesn't have the best boxing. Like you say, Conor McGregor does. Conor McGregor has amazing timing, amazing confidence in his striking and in his boxing, in his hands. Max Holloway has good range. He could take a good punch. He knows how to turn his head well. Has good foot movement, good footwork, good head movement, or a decent head movement. But much better boxers than Stephens, much better fundamentals than Stephens. So I think in this fight that Aldo's gonna be able to pretty much beat Stephens to the punch, be the more technical fighter. He definitely have to watch out for those power shots. But I think he's gonna be more than capable of doing that. I don't think he's faded to the point where he's just gonna lay down or just leave himself open for Stephens to hit him with a big punch or at least leave himself too open to where he get hit with those big shots too often. It's like Stevens definitely will land a punch in this fight. It's not like Stevens is just going to be hitting air the whole fight. He definitely will land some punches, but I don't think he's going to land anything like super clean and flush to stop the fight. I think he might land something that worries Aldo, but Aldo's going to stay calm and composed like he always does. And he's just going to be the one quicker fighter, more technical fighter, beating Stevens to the punch, beating Stevens to the kick, keeping Stevens out of range, except when Aldo wants to be in range, landing front kicks, landing leg kicks, landing especially that jab. He's going to bring that jab back because against Conor McGregor and Max Holloway, that jab really wasn't there because Holloway was so much bigger and his jab was better. And against Conor McGregor timing is so much better and that he just land that straight before Aldo could even do anything. Just set Aldo up and just throw that straight down the line and catch him. So I don't think Stevens has any boxing capabilities on that level. So I think Aldo's going to be able to bring that jab back that you haven't seen since like the Frankie Edgar's fights. He's going to be able to pepper Stevens' face up, especially when Stevens try to load up on those hooks. Those jabs is going to be right there. Those straights going to be right there. When Stevens misses those big hooks, those leg kicks going to be right there. So Stevens really going to give him all the opportunities to be somewhat of a vintage Aldo. So in this fight, I'm just going to say, since it's like a 3-round fight, this is just going to be a decision. I don't think Aldo's necessarily going to finish Stevens. I think he's going to fight kind of safe, kind of smart. He might mix in some wrestling every now and then because people forget that Aldo's actually pretty decent with his takedowns because his timing is so good. And he's actually trained at wrestling a little bit. So if he sees that Stevens becoming too aggressive or he needs to mix it up a little bit, he might. I wouldn't be surprised if Aldo mixes in a takedown here and there. Might take a minute off the clock. Definitely frustrate Stevens a little bit, get him off his game a little bit. But I don't see Aldo necessarily fighting like he's trying to prove something, but he's just going to be fighting so that he can at least get himself back into the win column. I see that's him being put on a veteran and smart performance. So in this fight, I have Jose Aldo via unanimous decision. Now on to our main event. We have a rematch in the lightweight division. Eddie Alvarez versus Dustin Poirier. So let's go back to their first fight. In their first fight, Dustin Poirier started off to a good start, rocking Eddie Alvarez early, at least once. Almost had him finished, but nothing too uncommon in Eddie Alvarez's career. Maybe for other fighters that might be like bad, but Eddie Alvarez, it's not too uncommon to see him pretty much looking like he's out of it, then surviving and coming back. So we had him in a pretty bad state. Then Eddie Alvarez rebounded, hurt Poirier with a hook, then got a takedown, then landed one decent knee, I think like 2 illegal knees, or one decent knee, one knee that's kind of in the middle, then one definite illegal knee. Then the fight was stopped, no contest, and they kind of waited it out a little bit. Maybe Eddie Alvarez wasn't really wanting the rematch, but all that being said, they are rematching now, high stake fight, a possible title shot on the line, and they're fighting again. So let's go back. Now let's get to this fight now. I don't think too much is going to change. I think they're still pretty much the same fighters, but they kind of have a feel, more of a feel for each other now because they've been in the cage with one another. I think Eddie Alvarez can be more prepared for those counters, and Poirier is going to know Eddie Alvarez is still a dog, and I can't get too confident or be too comfortable thinking I'll have him on the ropes because he's still at all times, unless you put him out, once you don't get too comfortable till the ref pulls you away from him because he's always had something under his sleeves. He's always in there ready to fight until there's nothing left to fight for. So I think they're both going to be even more prepared for what each other brings. But other than that, I think it's going to be the same styles. I think Poirier is still mostly going to have the striking advantage. Alvarez is going to have a slight wrestling advantage. So it's really the slight advantages for both fighters. But those slight advantages can play a huge part in this fight. And they're both confident. They both have a lot on stake on the line. I think with Poirier, his striking will be better, definitely early. But he has to worry about when the fight gets to the the doghouse. He got to keep the fight out of the doghouse. He could fight the dog, but don't fight the dog in the doghouse. Don't get too engulfed in a brawl because pretty much historically, even in Poirier's career, whenever he got too engrossed in a brawl, his technical ability kind of lessened. Might got caught by a big shot. Might got caught because then the other fighter invites him to a dog fight, and he kind of gets thrown out of his game. Then they get more technical and let him fall into that trap. So mostly for Poirier's career, most of the losses kind of came where he got taken out of himself. So if he stays within himself, he should win this fight I'm saying not easy, but I'm saying it should be his fight to lose, was what I'm saying. It's like Eddie Alvarez will still be in the fight, but it's his fight to lose if he keeps it technical. It's not the other way, but if he does go to the doghouse, then this fight could go all types of ways. As far as Eddie Alvarez, I think his wrestling, has edge in wrestling. I think in the fight he was able to get that takedown pretty easily. And I think he'll be looking for that maybe early, maybe throw off Poirier's time and maybe try to take some pop off Poirier's punches by making him force him to wrestle, making the fight dirty, making the fight gritty, try to rough him against the fence, take him down, do whatever he can to smother Poirier's punches. Poirier's gonna try to keep the distance, try to use those fast hands, use his timing, use his speed, use all that stuff to blitz, like what's called blitz Alvarez up, tag him up, and really not let him get anything going. But to kind of come to this conclusion without talking too much, I think it's pretty much in paper like what they both bring. I think that Poirier just got to stay composed. Alvarez, I think for him to win, I think he definitely has to make it ugly, whether it be with his wrestling or if he invites Poirier into like a brawl situation, like kind of a sweaty, bloody brawl. He got to make it rough on Poirier. Poirier got to keep it clean. Well, his best chance is to keep it clean. I don't think this fight gonna necessarily be. It's definitely gonna be one of those rough fights, but I think Poirier's gonna find his cleanness within the roughness, within the dirty. He's gonna find a bit of clean area, and he's gonna be able to do what he needs to do to win this fight. I think it's gonna be back and forth, be competitive. Just don't get into that doghouse. And I think this fight's gonna be, like I said, back and forth. And I see kind of in third round, I think Alvarez gonna be in that trying to get in that dog mode, but Poirier's not gonna really be inviting it. Now I'm gonna see Poirier catching Alvarez in the third and finishing the fight out with some TKO and some strikes. So in this fight, I have Dustin Poirier via third round TKO. So that concludes my fight predictions for UFC on Fox, Alvarez versus Poirier 2. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.